Well, I'm absolutely thrilled to be here with Matt Redman here in Vicor Street in Dublin, in my own hometown. Thanks for taking the time to chat to us today. I really do appreciate it.
It's fantastic. We're going to have a great evening here.
Now, Matt, I know you're on tour at the moment with it's called Unbroken Praise. So tell us a bit about why you chose that title for the tour.
Well, we have a new record out and it has the same title.
Yes.
And it's not just a coincidence. You know, it's a little theme that we're running with right now. Just thinking about when you come and worship God, bring your very best offering to Him. And we had the privilege of recording this record live at Abbey Road Studios. Took over the big Studio One there for the night. And just had a really great night. My band, a string section, crammed that place with 400 other people. And it was great seeing it all come together. So we're touring it around a little bit now. Been in America a bit, and now England and Ireland and Northern Ireland.
Of course. Now, your background, did you grow up with faith in your home, or did you just come to faith? I know as a young man, something struck you in church that really forced you to examine God in your life. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, when I was 7 years old, my father passed away, and he actually had taken his own life. And it definitely propelled me towards God. You know, I think sometimes when painful things happen or confusing things, you have a choice to make. You either choose to trust God is real and He is who He says He is, or you kind of walk away and think, I don't want anything to do with that. And for me, it was the former. You know, I just already knew a little bit about the Bible, and I thought, this is what I need right now. You know, and even my teenage years were pretty hard to navigate family-wise, honestly. But I found a lot of solace in things like the Psalms. You know, you've got this songbook in the middle of the Bible, and it's so raw and real, and there's always a sense of reverence. You know, they're calling out to God and naming Him as God, but they're being really honest about where they're at. I mean, it's kind of crazy and full on, the kind of things they're saying. And I related to it so much. I thought, wow, these are the kind of prayers I need to pray right now, and I didn't know you could be so real and raw about it.
Did you ever imagine your success? Because, you know, you've been covered by so many other artists. You know, Carrie Job is here tonight, and there's Jeremy Camp, Chris Tomlin. Did you ever think that God would take you on this journey?
No, not at all. I got into this because I loved seeing what could happen when people take music and they own it and they sing it with everything within them. And, you know, tonight we'll have, you know, I don't know, 1,300 people here, and there's a dynamic that happens when people are singing out these truths, and they're clinging on to this hope, you know, and they're pouring their hearts out. And so when I got into this, I was just doing it in my little church, and I loved it. I never dreamed that it could actually be something I could do full time. And we get to travel around the world. This year we've had the privilege of leading these worship songs in Madison Square Garden, Times Square, both in New York, Royal Albert Hall, Abbey Road, obviously. Now Vicor Street tonight. I mean, you know, it's amazing seeing what God's doing with the songs. It's
amazing when you hand over your life to God, what He can do for you.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. Now, one of the greatest things about worship is it brings you closer to God. But how have you seen, since you've started out on this journey, how have you seen the face of worship change? Because obviously nowadays Christian music is so out there. You know, the production value is second to none. The music we play on the show is absolutely superb now, what's out there compared to a few years back. How have you seen the whole face of worship change?
Well, I think it's interesting because when you write this worship songs, you're trying to take age-old truths and sing about them in a fresh way. You know, someone once said to me, write about universal themes in a unique way. And what I love is it feels like there is a freshness to the music. It feels, a lot of the music people hear in churches now, you could walk in and you'd find that music relevant, and it's the kind of music you listen to. You know, it might feel like a bit of Coldplay or something, I don't know. So I love that, you know, but it's trying to take those age-old truths and singing about them in a fresh way. So I'm really encouraged where the church is at with that, for sure.
Now, you're an author, you're a performer, you're a songwriter, and you've got 5 children, and you're married to Beth.
Yeah.
How do you keep God real? How do you keep Him centre in your life? Because I guess we're all very busy, particularly I'm sure you're very busy in the industry you're in, but how do you keep God real? Because I think as artists it's so important that you keep it authentic.
Yeah.
And how do you manage to do that, Matt?
Well, I think, the things I love are when you see something happen that is immeasurable. There's these moments we'll be out on tour, and a lot of things you can measure. You can measure a chart, where an album went to, you can measure how many albums, or how many people showed up at your event. There's a lot of things which are measurable, and that's cool. But what I love are the things that are off the charts. We were recently with this guy. He was in a coma, and he came to tell me after we'd led 10,000 Reasons, the song, that the first sign of him coming out of the coma was they played this song over him and tears were coming down his cheeks. And they said he wasn't going to recover from this, the doctors, and yet that was the first sign that he was going to have a comeback. And I love it that the song showed up in that moment. We've had other moments, people even facing the firing squad and been singing this song. We've had moments like I went recently to visit someone in the hospital who had leukemia, and they were just, again, this song had become their anthem. Those moments I love. They keep it really real with God. They remind you this is a spiritual thing. It's not just music and notes and sound and words. This is actually deep calling to deep. This is you pouring out your heart and touching the heart of God, and it's amazing what can happen. We see so many lives that who've been impacted or changed, or people in the darkest season of the soul, but finding their way to the place of praise and hope and faith. And so those are the moments for me, because you think, well, I know who I am. I can't make that stuff happen. Music, as powerful as it is, I don't even think it could achieve that. This is the work of God.
When you write, do you find that you sit down to write, you prepare to write, or do you find that it's when God catches you off guard? Where do you get your inspiration for writing? Is it the everyday life?
Loads of situations. I mean, obviously scripture. Yes. Might be a verse that pops out at you and you think there's a song in there. Could be a news story, honestly. Often it's a life event. Yeah. A lot of the songs we wrote, like You Never Let Go, came out of hard times in our own life. And can be any of those things. Sometimes you just have a phrase and you think there's a song in there, and it's could be a conversation. It's the key is to have your antennae up. 24/7. Be a songwriter. Always be listening out for a little piece of inspiration.
You must be absolutely feel privileged, as I said earlier, to be on this journey. And it's been fantastic talking to you, and I just want to say thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us here, because you're even more handsome in real life.
You're sweet.
But listen, thank you. I'm looking forward to hearing you tonight,
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll cross paths again.
Thank you so much. I hope so. Thanks for coming to see us tonight.
And I know you have other interviews to do, so I'll let you go. So thank you very much.
Pleasure.
God bless you.
God bless. Great stuff.